Don't allow others to control your personal development and growth. I don't care if it's in your fitness, your finances, your business, your leadership skills, or your skills as a spouse or a father. You are your greatest asset, and you should choose people who invest in you, not depreciate the person that you are. It's often said that your network is your net worth. Now, listen to that. Your network is your net worth. Guys, make sure your network is strong. Make sure that the people that you hang around are the right people, and make sure your mentors are genuine people who want to see your success. Hey there, leaders. Welcome back to another episode of the Fire Forged Leader Podcast, where we're going to dive into leadership on three primary battlefronts: the workplace, in your community, but most importantly, with how you show up with your family. Now let's get to work.
Leaders are not born in a womb. They are forged through heat, pressure, and a whole lot of sweat. The Fire Forged Leader Podcast serves the audience through exploring leadership at work, in the community, and with the family, using a practical perspective and real-life experiences from the host, Steve Baumgartner, and his guests in The Forge. Now, it's time to enter the Forge with the Fire Forged Leader.
I've talked about the concept before, and I'm going to keep on talking about how we are the average of our 5 closest friends or connections. It proves itself out day after day. No matter how strong we think we are internally, being around the right people is imperative to each one of us climbing the mountain of success. When we keep the right people around us, what happens is we learn quicker. We're able to expand our network and the opportunities that come from our network. We're guided toward the right goals that are important to us. We have true accountability in our lives, our confidence grows, and ultimately, we feel more fulfilled. So today, I'm going to give you 4 red flags of a poor mentor and 4 green flags of an awesome mentor. So hold on tight. A while back, I disassociated myself from a mentor that I was spending quite a bit of time with. For a long time, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right at all. But he was successful. So I thought that maybe some of that success would rub off on me. But let me tell you guys, this couldn't be further from the truth. There were so many red flags that I wish I would have known to avoid. And I'm going to share those with you now. Not to talk bad about this gentleman, but so that I can share them with you so that you can see growth in your life in the areas that you want to see growth in. So red flag number 1 is lack of availability. So this man, he never lived up to his time commitments and scheduled appointments. I can't remember but a handful of times out of the hundreds of times that we met that he actually did it at his scheduled appointment. And what that told me was that his time was always more important than mine. And that's not right. We should give to others. And one of those things that we give is time. Red flag number 2. This gentleman had a self-centered focus when I worked with him. Everything that came from his mouth was pointed directly back at himself and his successes. And when I say that, it's good to share experiences, but not to glorify yourself as a supreme being, if that makes sense. Now, I would question the words that came out of his mouth, and his answer was one that was simply that no one else knew the right answers. He had did this, so he was the only one who could get me there. Red flag number 3, unconstructive or negative criticism. Now, this mentor, he focused on the negatives of failure. How I or someone else must have screwed up rather than how we can learn through the failure. And this is important because failure teaches us a lot of things. And if we can't learn from it, we don't grow from it. Red flag number 4, unethical behavior. And I'll also say integrity. This man was entirely different behind closed doors than he is out in the public eye. He's angry, he's neurotic, and here's the kicker. He recognizes these traits in himself. But worse, he justifies it because he's successful. And then finally, he didn't want to see me grow personally. It was more of a money venture to him rather than a mission venture. Let's go ahead now and talk about what I will deem as the green flags of finding the mentors in our lives. Now, I'm not going to speak to experience. We all know that's important. It's a given. But I do want to mention that sometimes we think that we need to have the best person, the highest person in the category that we want to grow in to lead us forward. But I want to call that out, that that's not necessarily true. What we need is we need someone who's ahead of us on the journey. It's not always that person who's at the top of the mountain. It's that person who still understands how to get over that next step in the climb. It could be one step ahead or 100 steps ahead, but they need to have taken the journey. They need to be that person that has done the thing that we're looking for growth in. With that being said, let's get on to my first green flag, integrity. Now, I'm sure you guys know integrity is high up on my scale every time, and it'll remain there. Now, I want to tell you a little bit of a story about integrity. I recently started talking to a few people from BK Live. One of these people is Joey Bowen from The Fuel Hunt. Now, Joey, just to let you know, he is a man's man, hard worker, also makes over 7 figures, right? And he's got this network of people that is extensive. And I was talking to him at his booth at BK Live about a venture that I want to take. And we had a little bit of a conversation about it. And he told me to get a hold of him on Instagram and that he would help me in any way that he could. And guess what? I've reached out and we've been talking. He's got hundreds, if not thousands, of people contacting him every day, week, month. But his words meant something, and he followed through with what he told me. Green flag number two, emotional intelligence. With emotional intelligence, a mentor can help you navigate better through the struggles you have in your growth areas, right? They listen, they can empathize, and they can use this as a weapon. Weapon might be a little bit of a strong word, but as a tool, a lever to get more out of you to help you grow, because they can feel, or you can feel, that they care about you and it's not just a transactional situation. Green flag number 3 is accountability. A good mentor is going to call you out on your bullshit. They are going to do it in a way that motivates you and not tears you down. Another person from BK Live is Steve Eckert. I went up to him at a networking event during this event. Steve is a Navy SEAL, and he's also the person who leads the Modern Day Night Project. And I discussed my drinking with him, and he called me out on my bullshit in a way that inspired growth. And happy to say, I'm on day number 5 of not drinking. Green flag number 4 is an abundance mindset. More than likely, you are looking to this person to mentor you because they are doing something that inspires you and you want to be where they're at. Look for that person who knows there is plenty of opportunity out there in whatever section that is and wants to share it with you because, very important, because they value the mission over the money. People over profit. So leaders, stop sabotaging yourself with having the wrong mindsets around you. It's the worst thing that you can do for your growth, especially when it comes to mentors. Surround yourself with the qualities I spoke to above: integrity, emotional intelligence, accountability, and abundance. And steer clear of people that show red flags such as lack of availability, self-centered focus, negative criticism, and behaviors that don't match the words that come from their mouths. I'm going to leave you today with this challenge. I want you to write down the 5 people you're closest with, not including your spouse or children. Beside each one of them, I want you to draw an up arrow if they have a majority of the green flags for growth that we talked about, and then a down arrow if they possess the red flags. And then determine how you are going to upscale those people. All right, so if they have one red flag, maybe it's a conversation with that person. If it's 4 red flags, you probably should cut that person out of your life because they're dragging you down, not lifting you up. And then I want to hear about that on the socials. Go find me at Fire Forge Leader. Now, thank you for joining me once again on this episode of the Fire Forge Leader podcast. If you found this discussion valuable, please share it with your network and leave us a rating and review. Until next time, keep forging your path with purpose and passion.
You have just experienced the heat and pressure of the forge. Remember, words without action are meaningless. Now, after the heat of the forge, shape your thoughts, quench your brain, then put your new tools to use, adding to your leadership. Tune in next week for more lessons from the forge.